Yo, it's X. Corey, how you doing today, bro?
I'm doing good.
And today on the podcast, we got our man, Jack. How do you say your last name, Jack?
Turco.
Jack Turco, man. We
Yeah.
got him on the podcast, better known as the Butter Dog. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing amazing. I'm a little tired, a little sick, but I'm doing a podcast, so it's a pretty damn good day.
Yo, let's send it. Let's send it, man. If those of you guys who don't know who Butter Dog is or who Jack is a rower at Wisconsin, the University of Wisconsin in Madison. He's also a creative content creator. I'll put it to you like that. He's very informative when it comes to diet, so we'll definitely talk about a little bit about that. And he's also the reason why he's got the name Butter Dog is he's known to have a love for butter. So
Yep.
shout out to Jack. Jack, let's talk about rowing first. What got you in the sport and where are you from originally?
So yeah, that's a good question. I'm from Illinois, a little north of Chicago, northern suburbs, but I'd never had any experience with rowing. And I remember my mom sending me like a Facebook post about like come to our rowing open house. And it was basically something hosted at the UW campus at the boathouse, and they just like would show you a little bit about rowing. It was like a day camp, and I ended up going, and then kind of being like recruited as like a novice, you could say. So I had no experience. I didn't know what rowing was. I played football and baseball, so I had no experience even in endurance athletics whatsoever. But I ended up doing well at the camp. I remember the first test we ever did was like a 2-minute test, and I didn't even know anything about the rowing machine. I just went for 2 minutes, and I think I went like 6:20 something
Okay.
on it for like 2 minutes, and then I just started talking with the coach, and then went to summer camps over the summer. Basically, got recruited that way.
Very dope. So you're originally through the UW pipeline
Yeah.
of recruitment, of camp and all that. So
Mhm.
before that in high school, man, you played football. What other sports you played? You played just football?
Baseball and a little bit of basketball and soccer. So I was just ball sports my whole life.
And
I
how was the
love that.
transition from playing the ball sports over to rowing?
It was incredibly difficult. And it's still something today where I'm like, geez, I'm still like obviously trying to progress in the sport, but it took a while to get things going for me. And I basically had a pretty underwhelming first few years, and I still am nothing close to a superstar in the world of rowing or even on the team in general. But I don't know. I think the transition for me personally was pretty hard, especially coming from my background with no like running or swimming or anything like that.
I feel that. It is a vast difference from playing a ball sport over to like heavily endurance based workout and just in general. What do you love about rowing?
The competition, like the just going head to head with someone else, I just love winning, you could say. So when we're on the water, when we're racing, especially in like smaller boats like pairs, like I just eat that up. I love it. For me, that's just like kind of in my element. Obviously, I love the team, everyone, just the environment. That's something that's super important too. But yeah, the winning, the competitive aspect of it, and the self-development part of it is huge for me.
Very dope.
So,
Very dope.
has rowing now does that replace your other sports, or you still play basketball and baseball and all that, or what's up?
No, I well, actually I was throwing the football this morning a little bit, um, but yeah, I don't really do anything competitively anymore. Just
So what kept you with rowing then?
I just it was like I guess you could say I honestly haven't even thought about what has kept me with it. It's kind of like I've all like in my head, it's always like I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna get as good as I can, and I'm just gonna like complete it. Right. So I've never like really thought about what's kept me in it. But I would say just like the hints of like being on top, right? Like the times where you win, where you come from behind, when you like surprise yourself. That's like, I guess, what keeps me going every day.
And it's an ultimate test to yourself and to your teammates and how much
Yeah.
work you put in. And
Yeah.
it's great when you're confident, you're going in, you're gonna get a dub in a race. It also is a lot of fun, even when you're about to fight for it, right? Like when
Yeah.
it's neck and neck, bow ball to bow ball, like it's like, okay, yeah, I respect those guys in the other boat, but hey, we're gonna try to rip this one.
Yeah.
You're gonna try to get these
Yeah.
guys over. So I
Yeah.
definitely understand the feeling of that, man. What got you into creating content?
So a lot of it, so it started out with a change that I made in my diet. I began switching things up a little bit. I kind of went carnivore for like a couple months, strictly meat, and it was just kind of experimenting on myself because I just thought what I was doing wasn't sustainable in terms of like diet and lifestyle, right? I just couldn't see myself getting where I wanted to be
Yeah.
with what I was doing. So I started to change a lot of things in my life, and then diet was one of them. And I basically just turned that around, and everyone from the outside looking in was like, dude, you're weird. Like, that's crazy. Like, what are you doing? And then people are saying, hey, you should like post about it. Like, you should just put that out to the world to see, basically. And I kept thinking about that. And there's a lot of like people I've listened to where it's, and they've kind of stressed the importance of like building a brand and like the importance of that in this new economy, I would say, of attention. So I was kind of capitalizing on what I was doing and where I wanted to go. And basically just start building a brand and putting myself out there for the world. And I think it's crazy looking back. It's only been a little over 5 months since I started, and it's blown up a lot bigger than I thought it would have.
So let's talk about that. When you were transitioning over to a carnivore diet, did you see any benefits off rip, or were you skeptic of it? Like, what made you go into it?
Yeah, I was skeptical of it. I was seeing people online having results with it. And this was right when I started about a year ago, around this time. And I was skeptical, but I was just like kind of desperate for a change. And the carnivore diet was basically the answer. And I noticed early on, like, my performance isn't terrible. I'm feeling a lot better than I was, but rowing wise, I didn't think I was getting that much better. If not maybe a little worse, because obviously you need carbs to perform at a high level. It's like anyone who tells you can just survive on fat and meat is just wrong, in terms of the rowing world, I would say.
Right.
And it just morphed into what it is today, I guess. Yeah.
And
So
so I see a lot of your content. You'll go from the outrageous meat eating, and then you'll have actual advice. I'm wondering how much of the outrageous stuff actually translates with your diet. Like, are you actually eating testicles? Are you actually
Yeah.
You are? Yeah.
So I'll eat testicles. Sorry, I'm getting a notification. Yeah, I'll eat testicles every single day, most days. And the videos that you see online, it's kind of like, how can I dress this up and like kind of make it crazier than it already is, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like I'll eat testicle and all that stuff on a pretty regular basis, but like when I post those videos, it's like, okay, how can I make this a little bit crazier? So, hey, instead of just eating testicles, we're going to make it a testicle lollipop. We're going to do like a silly voiceover and something like that. And basically just take it to the next level. And I know I've gotten a lot of comments too, like, I don't know when to take you seriously or not. And I guess that's kind of like a reflection of like my personality, because really this is just a projection of me just online. So, I would say I eat all this stuff, but a lot of it is like, how could I take it to the next level?
So what are the benefits of eating testicles?
and
So
pizzles might be
yeah,
as well. Yeah.
yeah. So I would say, scientifically speaking, there's probably not that big of a benefit, but placebo wise, there's definitely a boost. I've felt, and this is all just anecdotal, when I eat more testicle, when I eat like bull pizzle, I feel better. I perform better. Like my workouts, I'm just locked in. I don't know what it is. There's just like some energy that I like am able to like scrape up. But scientifically, I mean, maybe there's like bioactive testosterone that you can synthesize in your body, but then again, I'm really not too sure about that. Um,
I think it is something like it is like an effect to
yeah,
some degree. I was watching another TikTok, and it was this girl, and this has nothing to do with you, man. So I'm not like I'm not comparing you whatsoever to this woman,
right.
but she was eating dog food. She's going on a dog she's going on a dog food diet, and she had a cheat day at McDonald's or whatever, and she started barking at the cash register, like not physically barking, but actually like just being like visceral, almost like a dog, like right, like,
Right.
and it was like she was upset with her order, and it's like she legitimately was going through this freaking diet, and it turned her like almost into like
Yeah,
this freaking
exactly.
dog, right? So,
Yeah. No,
um,
that's definitely something to it. Like what you tell yourself and what you put in your body, like you kind of act it out. You kind of play the part, I guess.
Now I love your videos when it's very informative, and when you go into the grocery store, help athletes out and show them different selections of what they can do if they want to integrate into their diet, right? If they want to integrate natural based food into their diet. Let's talk about that. Like, what are the benefits of that? And were you always eating natural even prior to going to the carnivore?
Yeah, no, I really was not at all. I didn't really care about my health whatsoever until like about a year and a half ago. I didn't really realize the importance. And I don't think a lot of athletes really understand it either. Because when you're caught up, you got 2 practices a day, you're lifting, you're running, you're rowing. It's like you're kind of always tired, or you think that's normal to be always tired. And I think a lot of athletes like get kind of stuck in this where they blame like, oh, maybe I'm just having like a rough day. Maybe it's just like I'm a little bit more tired than usual. But it's like your body's trying to tell you like, hey, if you keep on this path, like you keep drinking this Gatorade filled with red 40, like there's going to be some consequences long term to that. But I think a lot of athletes just don't really realize the importance of it. And I'm just speaking from experience. I didn't understand it personally until I made the switch, and I felt way better. But I just kind of accepted the fact that I always felt shitty. But that doesn't have to be the case. And I feel like our food system, and this is like kind of going off on a tangent, but I feel like the food system in the US is kind of crazy. Like I know personally, I've heard a lot of people, they'll say, oh, I went to Italy, I went to Spain, I ate whatever I wanted. Like I was on vacation and I came back and I felt amazing. And then I started eating American food, American water, and then I felt like terrible again. And I think there's something to it. I mean, you look at the crops, they're sprayed with Roundup. All the foods have chemical additives, even sports drinks, sports foods, protein bars, energy bars.
High fructose corn syrup.
Yeah, exactly. Like just refined sugars.
It's almost like the food that we have now
Yeah,
here is just leading us straight to the
right.
medical,
Exactly.
area, right? And then just
Yeah.
where it's almost a drug right now, right? And
Mhm.
you're just gonna go to more drugs that are gonna sedate the drug that. So yeah, I totally get it. I
Exactly.
totally get it.
Mhm.
What took you on the path at least? Did you like see somebody else's diet? Was it a teammate? Was it a video? Was it a book? Like, what was it that was like, oh, like when did it start to click for you, I guess?
Mhm. So I was reading a lot of books, and I wasn't really on social media about a year ago. I didn't go on TikTok. Um I wasn't really engaged, and but I was reading books, and I remember reading time and time again like what you put in your body has like one of the biggest effects on your performance throughout the day. Um and so that kind of took me down a wormhole of like the carnivore diet. And there's definitely been influences with like after I've built up after I started like my channel and my social media, there's definitely been influences from people like Carnivore MD, Liver King, Sean Baker, other people just in the space in general. But prior to starting the carnivore diet, I didn't know any of those people. Um, but I'd say there's a lot of resources out there now, especially online. I know it's super popular, but when I first started, I didn't know anything about it. I was just reading books, and I thought this like carnivore diet seems like it could help me. Seems like the right thing to be doing, especially if you look at the history of humans. We are definitely meat eaters. Um, So yeah, that basically kind of started me on my diet craze, you could say.
I feel that. So has that in any way affected has that reached out to you, like your teammates? Have your teammates thought about changing up their diets? Have you been like, I guess, the not necessarily shoving it down their throat,
Yeah.
right? But like, are you like, is that helping your team at all?
Um, I don't know. It's definitely entertainment for them. I can assure you that. But as far as like me being like like crazy with them, like, oh my gosh, like I'm watching them sip a Gatorade. I don't call out like, oh my gosh, do you know what's in that? Or, a protein
Yeah.
bar filled with soy. Like I just kind of have a hands-off approach to it. Like it's none of my business. And to be honest, I feel like I don't, especially in the rowing world, I don't feel like I have the right to be like telling these guys what to do. Because, and I'm sure you guys know this too, like, especially rowers, I feel like they have their thing, right? And they're really like set in their ways. I've felt like, at least that's what I've seen. So
I can agree. Yeah.
yeah, and I feel like the type of dude that like rowing attracts, and like to be successful in rowing, like it's a bunch of hard guys. Like you don't really boss these people around or convince them of things easily. So um I don't think I've really had much of an influence. Maybe I have and they just don't say anything, but I haven't seen anything.
Well, I think even with how silly some of your content could be, I
Yeah.
think that I think even still they might see some of it and
Yeah.
go, oh, okay, interesting. Maybe I go look into this. Maybe not. But
Yeah.
without a doubt, I think you definitely have the attention, right? Like you get people's attention. Even you've got like millions of views now, millions of likes, and how do you feel about that character that you have? It's like that voice. It's like I don't even know how to describe it. Like, how would you
Yeah.
describe that?
So I just have always been so like skeptical of everyone on social media. Like I just like to poke fun at people. Like that. It's something I've always liked to do, right? And I feel like the carnivore community and just health communities in general are just low hanging fruit because people are just, I think, so, I don't know, serious all the time, right? And that's not who I am. Like I'm not a super serious person, especially when it comes to like the content aspect. And it's kind of just an expression of my personality. But yeah, that I don't even know how it started. I think it was just like I saw a video of like someone making cupcakes and it was just like I was questioning, like, is this real? Like, do they really sound like that? There's no way. Like, there's no way someone actually put this online. Um, but people do, and I
With
just like
like
to
the
make fun of
cadence
it.
and
Like,
everything. They're like, well,
yeah,
today I decided I was
yeah,
gonna. And you're like, oh, dude, I'm about to
exactly,
clown. I'm about to clown. So
exactly. Yeah,
I
no,
feel that. Let's
yeah.
talk about rowing for a little bit, man. What have been some of your like favorite races? Like, is it IRA, the Charles? Like, what would you say is like been your favorite experience racing?
I would say the Charles, 100%. That's always been like the most fun and highly anticipated race for me. And to be honest, like my shorter distance stuff, like 2Ks, it's not really that impressive. So when we're training for the Charles, we're doing 10Ks, we're doing hours, we're doing long runs, and that's kind of like my wheelhouse. That's when I really do well. And so those races are the ones where I've been in situations where I can actually contribute. So those are
Yeah,
definitely the fun ones.
I love head races, and the
Yeah,
Charles is a whole nother monster. But
yeah.
head races, I just love freaking just getting to a rhythm, man. You going
Mhm.
down the line, and then there's so many boats, man. That makes it fun, in my opinion. Because like,
Yeah.
okay, you catching this boat, okay, got him. Okay, here's another boat, got him. All right, and then it's like, all right, the boat that's ahead of you or the boat that's coming down the line, you're kind of counting, like, or that's at least what I used to do. I used
Yeah.
to count. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. They went to that buoy a little too. I don't know if that was 30 seconds. I don't know
Yeah.
if that was 20 seconds. So it's like I always loved that aspect of head
Yeah.
races. So this last past Charles, you were in a four, right?
Yeah. In the past 2 years, I've been in the, what is it, the Champ Four, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was great. It's like a whole event for the city. That's why I love it so much because it's like I feel like it just brings so much attention to the sport where everything else is kind of like there's not many spectators. No one really knows about it outside of like families and um,
Other
I guess
rowers.
friends. Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Very dope. So can we go back to creating content? Corey, you got
Yeah.
something?
Yeah, well, I wanted to ask something about his diet. So what is your diet looking like now? Is it just meat, or is there other things you've added on to it?
Yeah.
What does it look like at the moment?
So right now my diet is mostly meat, and I kind of have a framework by now. I'll eat like 2 pounds of meat per day. So like that's usually just ground beef. And then everything else I'll just like backfill. If I want to eat fruit, I'll do that. If I want to eat honey, maple syrup, sticks of butter, like that's what I'll do. But basically I just kind of hit what I need to with protein wise from the beef, and then whatever I'm feeling.
So your main priority is protein, pretty much.
Yeah.
Protein and fat.
At this point, yeah.
Now, question, why do you like to eat blue steaks? I guess that's a I know that's
Yeah.
very forward, but yeah, well, why do you like to
Yeah.
eat blue steaks?
So I never like I used to be the pickiest eater, and I used to never eat like raw meat or undercooked meat. But when I started like trying it, I was like, huh, I feel good. I feel like kind of a boost after. And then I looked into it, and it's like when you're eating a blue steak, like you're getting a direct shot of iron, basically.
Okay.
It's not broken down by the heating process. You're getting all the B vitamins. And it just like felt good. And I just kind of kept going with it, and it just stuck. And now I have no problem like eating raw meat. I always get steaks, blue rare, but I just like the crust. And then I don't know the taste. It's like crunchy, but I don't know. It's weird. It's definitely it's not for everyone.
I got you. So yeah, let's talk about. So you were a picky eater earlier on.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, like give me an example. Give me an example.
Like I would not get lettuce, tomatoes, or mayo on a cheeseburger or anything. Like I would just get like ketchup and cheese. I wouldn't like I would eat literally the same things every day. I would never eat vegetables, which I guess I don't now, but growing up I never wanted to either. I would never try anything new. I would never eat fish. I was pretty selective, really. But now
Wow.
it's like any animal product. I really would eat anything, and I have in some of my videos, as you've probably seen. But yeah.
And when you're making all this content, what is like your, I guess, main priority? Is it the comedy side? Is that what it is for your TikTok?
So TikTok, there's definitely two different strategies. So TikTok, it's more how can I get the most viral, most outreach. And it's not like I'm thinking about this like intentionally, but like I'll just kind of like show my personality more in TikToks. Like I'll just screw around and someone will film it and it'll just go viral. Or I'll make like recipe videos and just I don't know,
So
voiceovers.
you don't really have too much of a thought process in the creating content. You just create whatever you like.
So there's pillars that I have. There's like 4 pillars, and I tell myself, hey, if I hit these 4 pillars, then maybe my audience won't be bored. So there's like the viral stuff. There's like the eating side of it. There's the fitness content, and then there's like the grocery shopping side of it all. But yeah, there's some days where I only film sports content. There's some days where I only film like eating stuff, and other times it's like a mashup of videos I've done in the past. But there's definitely a strategy to it because on Instagram people like don't take the insanity as nicely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're more of a refined audience, and that makes sense because I'd say most of my followers on Instagram are like 25 to 45, whereas TikTok is probably like 25 and under.
What about the four deadly? You know what I'm talking about? The four like red dye, and could you explain that a little bit?
Oh yeah, like the red dye, the yellow 5 and 6, and something else maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, in one of my videos, I think I called it the something trifecta. I can't remember, but basically these are all just like chemicals made in a lab that they're adding to foods. Especially like the red dye 40, I've looked into it, and it could allegedly worsen ADHD symptoms, which so many people apparently have nowadays. But I think it's just food quality that's really hurting them. So they're just like people just are eating, and I was doing the same thing. I was eating foods filled with synthetic, I don't even know what to call it, chemicals. It's not good for your health. You will feel terrible, and we're not meant to like process that type of stuff. And that's what I realized on my journey when I cut out all those foods. I felt so much better.
I feel like the worst part about it is that the dyes are just for coloring. They're just
Yeah, literally
for it to
for,
look
yeah,
appealing or whatever.
yeah, exactly. It's all for um just like grabbing your attention, I guess. Like all like you go down the cereal aisle, it's a bunch of just bright colors. Um and that's what's crazy to me too. It's just it's bad. Like it's all marketed towards kids, you can tell too. So it's just setting people up to fail. And I didn't even realize what it was doing, the damage it was doing to me.
What benefits have come out of creating this content?
So my network of people has expanded tremendously. I've been able to sign deals with companies. I've done sponsored videos. I've basically put myself in a position 5 months ago that I didn't even know existed. And it's just kind of crazy to me because I just film content and just like have fun with it. And obviously there's ups and downs. Like social media is the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. And it's like riding a wave, but it's just opened so many doors that I didn't know existed. And now it's kind of crazy too, because it's like anytime I go out, it's like I'm recognized by people, like people are reaching out to me. Like it's a world I had no idea it existed. Like I never worried about going out and like, oh, I got to be, on my game. I can't be like an asshole if someone like comes up to me. Like I never thought about that before, but now it's like if I go to the grocery store or a gas station, like I got to be ready for some high school kid to like start
Hey,
freaking out.
dog.
It's just weird because I don't know. It's something I've never experienced.
And what do any of your coaches know? Like, do they know about this?
Oh, they all know. Every single person knows. In my head, I love my head coach, first of all, because he definitely has joked around with it before. Like I remember when I first made those Pizzle videos, like he was talking about it too. It was just funny. Like everyone knows about it and everyone's a good sport about it too. Cause like obviously the last thing I want to do is like give a bad like name to rowing or to Wisconsin. And I'm like, it kind of worries me like making videos sometimes, like how is this going to be portrayed? Like I don't want anyone to, I don't know, get in trouble over this. But yeah, it is funny. Everyone's been a good sport about it, especially the coaches, but they all know.
Yeah, I can see like a freaking a team meetup or something like that. Jack, yeah, how's the pizzles or something? Like I'll be like,
Exactly.
oh damn, I'll be like, ah damn, you
Exactly.
got
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Um, what? So is this what year are you in?
I'm a senior. I got 3 months left, which is insane.
Crazy to
It
think,
goes
yeah.
by fast.
Yeah, yeah. So what goals do you have, I guess, on the rowing side, on the professional side, on graduation side? Like what are your goals in the next like I guess 3 months really, dude?
Yeah. So goals right now, win as many races as possible, getting, the best boat that I can, which is, I don't know, that'll be fun. Like just the competitive aspect, like competing with other guys on the team. But after that, like I really want to pursue social media full time. I'm moving to Charleston, South Carolina this summer. I'm actually getting my MBA. But yeah, I really want to turn social media into something I do full time. And I think I could. But everything's developed so fast. Like I applied to the master's program before I started social media. So I kind of had that trajectory going.
Yeah.
And like I feel like I'm kind of being pulled in different directions because it's like, you know, do I go all in on social media right now? But it's like I need to right now, my priority, need to finish rowing, need to finish school without failing. And I'll do social media and whatever. And then after that, like when I have free time, I'm gonna go all in on social media. But it really is like a full-time job right now. Like it is literally all I do, which is row and then film, edit, post, engage. Like that's
Oh,
really
what
it.
what advice do you have for, I guess, younger athletes, younger rowers, if they want to row in college? What would you say would be some of the highlights? What are the things that no one will tell you about rowing in college? Like, what would you say to them?
Mhm. Yeah, I think one of the best things you could do is just replicate what someone else is doing who's ahead of you, right? Find a guy and just gun him down. Like I don't know, when he's working out, work out with him, do a little bit more, just see what he's doing and ask him for advice. And soon you'll be better than that guy and you'll have your sights set on another guy. And you don't even have to like make it known that you're doing this, but just in your head, kind of find a guy that you admire who's a role model and just do what he's doing. And I feel like you'll figure it out from there. That's what I wished I did earlier in my career. Like I remember coming in as a freshman, I didn't really know what I was doing, and I didn't really have anyone to look up to. I didn't feel like I was really aware of what was going on. And I think that held me back up until like my junior year, to be honest.
And I think the same could be said that advice can also translate in how to be successful in rowing in general,
Exactly.
and understanding. I mean, I've seen it already in like the high school level. As a kid, freaking, he was an 8th grader last year. He's a 9th grader this year. He's been working really hard on the erg, and he
Yeah.
finally beat one of these guys that were above him and was older than him, like looking
Yeah.
down on him, kind of in a way. But he just put his head down and grind. That's really all it
Yeah.
takes. So,
Yeah, it takes time for sure. I mean, there's definitely an ignorance, like time and ignorance that you have to pay down in the beginning, especially if you've never done the sport before. So obviously you just need to get strokes in, and that's super important in the beginning to just absorb it all, do as much as you can, I think.
what are some notable like friendships or relationships that you've made off of rowing? I mean, not off of rowing. Yeah, excuse me, off of rowing.
So I'd say basically my roommates, we're all on the team, and we have been for the past 4 years. And just getting close with all of them, it's cool because I feel like rowing too, especially when you got guys who are experienced, you got guys who are walk-ons. It's a lot of people who may have never been friends previously, like in high school. So it's cool. You just get a bunch of different, I guess, perspectives. Everyone's like so different. I feel like if you like, I love all my high school friends, and I still keep in touch with a lot of them. But like, if you look at it, at all of us, we're like the same dude. It's just funny. Like we're all just goofy. We played ball sports. We all grew up together doing the same stuff. But you look at the rowing team, it's like you got guys who have rowed their whole lives. You got guys who, have lived in other countries, and then you got guys like me who play ball sports. So you just have a bunch of different type of people. So that's super valuable, I think. And I've gotten really close with my roommates.
Yeah, what do you have to
Extremely
say
unique.
about getting that like brotherhood sense of like rowing in the boat with the same guys for 4 years?
Yeah.
Like, well, what have you gained from that?
Yeah, I'd say it's just different. It's just different than anything I've done before. Like the amount of suffering you do in rowing, you can't compare it to other sports. At least sports that I've played, like football, baseball. There's really no suffering in that, like there is in rowing. So you just develop like a brotherhood. Like you can call on these guys for really anything, and you know that they'll have your back. And I don't know if I could say that for other teams that I've played for in the past. Yeah, these guys, I trust every single one of them, because when you pay down the debt and then you work that hard with the same guys for that long, it's just like you trust them.
Yeah, when you get through those, and you guys really erg up there, man.
Yeah.
Y'all like erg, like TVs, monitors,
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's almost like always racing. So yeah, when you're on that erg, man, you gotta do some heavy workouts in, and you're done with the workout. You're like, dang, hey, we all got through. We all good. Oh, yeah,
Right.
now we boys. Now we boys. We've been through the
Yeah.
mud. We've been through war. So without a doubt, what is something that you're interested in getting into and like branching out into in terms of content creation? What do you want to try out? Is there anything that you want to kind of dabble in?
Yeah, I love collaborating with like other creators. So I'm pretty new to it all. So like, and I'm super busy too. So really the only people I've collaborated with are guys like Jack Flood. If you're familiar with him, I made a few videos with him, but we were in Austin training for rowing, and he wasn't too far from me. So I was like, hey, let's film for the day. And that was super fun. And that's something I want to do. And there's other people like in my niche that I want to collaborate with. And I'm trying to get with Carnivore MD as well. I've commented on posts, and we've gone back and forth before about it, about collaborating for a video. But obviously, like I'm a small fish compared to him right now. So that part excites me, right? Like just being surrounded by people who have the same goals or want to do the same thing. So like Jack Flood was one of them where like I saw what he was doing and I'm like, God, like how is his video blowing up and not mine? Like I just want to like be better than this guy. Like I just want to have more followers. I just want to,
You're
outperform.
back in that competition. Yep.
Literally. And that's like I've had my sights set on him forever. And I'll tell him this too. Like I just wait, basically, is what I tell him.
Iron sharpens iron, seriously, and he's also a competitor as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's got that in him as well. Believe it or not, the way that I got this podcast by commenting on TikTok, I do the exact same thing with Jack, and I did that. I actually did that prior to seeing your content. So when he had the Flubbo and the QPD and all that, I'm like, yo. So same thing, you keep pressing, you'll get there. And
that's the thing too. Like I think people, worry too much about like, oh, am I gonna be like annoying to them? Like I get so many comments I don't even know. Like so when you comment like that and you're consistent every single day, I'm bound to see it. And then obviously I want to do something like this. So I see it and I'm like, all right, let's do it. Like let's go. And that's what I love about it too. It moves like so fast, like especially in the social media world. I've gone to like conventions and I've been around people who like professional athletes, and I've just seen like deals and things happen right in front of me that I just didn't even know were possible. And that's the crazy thing about it. It's so fast moving, and I guess that plays into like what social media is at the end of the day, which is just like attention. And it's like, if you stop posting, people just forget about you. Like it doesn't matter. Like you just whatever.
Now, Jack, there's one thing we've been going through this podcast for a bit right now, but there's one thing we haven't mentioned yet, and that is butter. What is your love of butter? Can you explain that?
Yeah. So I think butter has been falsely demonized.
Okay.
Especially as of late, past decade for sure, and probably the last few years. But it's something that I was like so against, and I think many people are too. And they eliminate it completely from their diet, or they, just will never touch it. And that was like me. And when I started including butter again, I felt way better. And it makes sense because you need healthy fats for your hormones, for your brain function, to repair all your cells. And it's just something that's missing from most people's diets. And if they just added like a little bit more, they probably would feel better. And that's what I remember thinking like in the beginning, like, okay, what's the most dumbed down like version or message that I could like give out, which is like butter or like health. And then it was like butter. What about health? It just I just boiled it down to butter. And then it's just like, if everyone had a little bit more butter, they might feel a little bit better, especially if they were going through what I was going through, which was like difficulty recovering, difficulty sleeping, felt out of energy, probably low T as well. I feel like, again, there's something going on behind the scenes. I don't know why butter is being demonized, but I think a lot of people could benefit from eating more of it.
Yeah, I think what I get a lot from your content, especially on the informative side, is that a lot of the food that we have today can lead to low T, man. And after having this diet for a while now, going on a year, do you feel as if, I don't know, you could obviously get it tested, but do you feel boosting your testosterone?
Definitely. Yeah, I remember like just having no energy, no strength. And that's like symptom number one of low T, especially as a 20-year-old man at the time. Like you should be full of energy. You should be like ready to go. And a term that I always use in my videos is like bucked up, but like I just wasn't at the time. I don't know if you've ever heard me say that phrase before, but
yeah,
that's basically what it is. Just I wasn't bucked.
I feel that. What are your so you already talked about collaborating with other content creators. Where do you see yourself when you move to South Carolina? Do you want to continue to do informative, funny content like that, or do you want to go into like long form? Like what is that going to look like? Now, obviously, you'll still be in school.
No, that's a good question. I definitely want to break into like a different side of the fitness, I guess, world. Because right now it's like I'm an athlete speaking on, what I know as an athlete. And maybe there's like, and really a lot of my videos come from just like experience, like painful experiences that I've had that I can turn positive and maybe give them a little bit of a message, even if it's just completely out there. But I think there's going to be new challenges that I'll face that I'll be able to reflect upon. Like maybe some of my videos will be like, okay, how do I now stay in shape now that I'm not doing an hour of cardio every single day? Like, how do I take care of the mental side, maybe not being around like a high performing like team environment. So that'll be interesting, but I think I'm also going to embrace like hopefully the beach lifestyle too. Like I feel like I'm just going to be outside, like doing stuff, biking, golfing, probably surfing too. So that'll be a whole nother side of content, but I definitely just like love the making people laugh. I think that's something I've always just enjoyed. So if I can do that and provide some value and some entertainment, then I'll be happy with that. So I think I'm just going to keep going with it.
Dope. Another question is, how does your family react to your diet, man?
Yeah. So that's a question I get all the time. And in the beginning, they were probably super skeptical. And even now, my dad is so grossed out by it. Like he's disgusted. And he would like be revolted sitting next to me at the dinner table. And he's just like, I can't do it. Because I had like my big like butcher block with like all the meat and like fruit juice and syrup. And I'd just be like slurping it off the plate. And he would be so grossed out. But I think they're all by now, because I have two sisters, and I think by now they're all for it. And they just kind of accepted it. But my mom was like the biggest supporter. I'll ask my mom, like, hey, what do you think about this video? Like, hey, do you have any video ideas? Like, so I'm thinking like some of my best videos have probably been like my mom saying like, hey, you should, like, I'll give an example. I had a video, the sink steak blow up. And it's probably, I think it's at like 5.5 million views. I posted that like last week, but I was like texting my mom, I'm like, I'm kind of in a slump. What do I need to do? And she's like, I think you just need to get back to your roots. Like, just, I don't know, eat some butter, like do something crazy. Right. And I'm like, all right, sink steak. That's what I'm doing. So then I posted that and it went crazy. But my mom is like, I've said this in like comments before, and they're like, what does your mom think of it? I'm like, my mom's my manager. So like, she's obviously all for it, but it really is true. I go to her every single day and we'll talk about it.
That is absolutely so hilarious. Thinking about your mom just be like, just go back to the roots. We need the steak.
That's literally what she told me. I'm like, she is so smart. Like, let's go.
You gotta a lot of times moms got something to say, man. If you listen sometime, man, they're on to something, right. For real.
Because they have just like this view, like this bird's eye view of everything. Like, obviously my mom's not an athlete, so I'd say she's just like an average consumer of like content. So she has a good idea of like, I guess, different sides, and it's super valuable to me. And it's just funny that I have that relationship with her. I guess I'd love it.
And how was that sink steak, and how was the milk steak too? That's what I'm curious as.
Yeah. So honestly, they weren't that bad. And so, I mean, to the average person, they'd probably be like terrible. But I mean, to me, it's not that bad. I like the sink steak more. The milk steak, it was kind of confusing. Like the flavors were confusing. It was like I was eating cheese almost, because I used like a little bit of kefir and milk.
Yeah.
So it was all right. It was kind of sour tasting, but the sink steak was fine. It just tastes like wet steak.
It's a bit of it's sous vide if you think about it, honestly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Jack, that's all I have. Corey, do you have anything for Jack, man?
I guess like I guess you kind of answered it about your mom, but what happens when you get into that writer's block? What do you go through to keep on pushing on content?
Yeah, so that's a good question. That's something a lot of people don't realize too, because I post basically 3 videos a day, and I've done that every single day for like 5 months, and I've had maybe a dozen videos hit like a few million, maybe. So there's a lot of times you fail, right? So the highs are super high and the lows are most of the time, and they're really low. So in the beginning, I remember feeling like I don't know. The dopamine is just insane. When I was in the beginning and I saw my videos blowing up, I was like, I felt on top of the world. And then it's like, all right, but you got to keep going. Like this isn't the end. Like you have to disconnect yourself from the result, or else you'll just get caught up in it and you just won't keep going. So that's something I do. I'll post, I'll engage with some comments, but if a video doesn't do well, all right, whatever, next video. And you, especially on TikTok, if you're on a hot streak, you're hot, and like videos just keep going. And that's what I've experienced the past like week or so. I've done like almost 1.5 million, 2 million views a day for almost like 2 weeks now, which is insane. And before that, it was way lower. And I don't know, I must have like, I got banned for like a week, but some views were a lot lower. But it's just,
Oh, why'd you get banned?
I I don't even know.
Hmm.
Like my videos just got taken down. And it's not like the videos of me doing the insane stuff. It's like the videos you would not suspect, like me going to a grocery store and like shitting on a product. That's what gets taken down, not the me eating a bull penis. Um,
That
Wow.
makes sense to me.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
yeah. So it's weird, but yeah, it's just I disconnect myself from the result. And like I always talk to my mom too about it. And I'm like, Mom, I'm in a slump. Like, or Mom, like, this is insane. Like, we haven't done this well ever. And she's like, this is what happens, right? You complain, you're like, this sucks. Videos aren't doing well, and a day later it's the complete opposite. And that's just the truth. So you just keep going. And I write down video ideas, and I will like almost meditate. I'll turn off all the lights, close my eyes, like just basically unplug and just think. And that's when the best video ideas come to mind. So that's what I do. And I do that probably couple times a week, and I'll just have like at least 20 video ideas that I could do. But a lot of the times great videos just come from being in the moment. Like there's days like yesterday, I just drove around yesterday and just filmed shit that I saw. And that's basically what I do to keep the ball rolling. But it is super time consuming.
So consistency is key.
Consistency and quality, right? So yeah, you need to be consistent, but I would rather post one quality video a day than three okay videos. So you got to make sure you're doing like the right things at the right time.
Any other further advice to content creators
Yeah,
looking to grow?
I think just like be yourself, and when you see a trend, like just run with it, because that's really what it is just connecting hot streaks. And I remember thinking in the beginning, well, actually, I was like this in the beginning. I had no idea what I was doing. I wasn't really engaged with the social media world. I refused to be in like any TikTok videos with like my sisters. I thought it was the dumbest thing ever. And then when I started posting and they found my account and I told them, and they were just shocked by it. So I feel like in the beginning, you just got to overcome the unwillingness to learn. You just have to be willing to put in the time, know that you're going to make mistakes, and just keep at it. And it's not for everyone, I will say. But I remember like a week ago, someone said, you just have the personality for it. Like, you're just like that type of guy. And I remember thinking, I'm like, okay, that probably is true in some sense, but that's kind of just a bad outlook, right? Because if you look at my first videos, they were terrible. They were garbage. Like, I've had to basically refine, learn, and just keep building throughout this whole process. And that's what I'll continue to do, because I'm not obviously where I want to be yet. It's just a learning experience. I think too many people are waiting for the perfect opportunity. Like, okay, I would post if I, did this, or I would post if I was like that. But no, you make it personal. Like, not everyone has to post rowing content. You could post whatever you wanted. If you play video games, you play board games. There's, like an ass for every seat. So that's, I would say, just getting started is the best thing you can do. I remember like basically planning this out for so long. Like, almost having a crisis, like almost like an identity crisis. Like where was I gonna, where did I want to be in 5 years? And was I doing everything that I could be to fulfill that? And that was like financial freedom, independence. I didn't really want to work like a 9 to 5. Deep down, I was like, there's no way I'm going to go to college, sit in a classroom, then sit in an office. And so I thought to myself, okay, what can you do then? All right, well, you got a phone, and social media is like one of the easiest ways to have outreach, and you can easily capitalize on an audience, or provide value to people. They'd be more willing to either buy a product or to follow you, and eventually you could achieve your goals. And so that's how I saw it, and I just started posting and kept going, and it's just been fun. Like, I love doing it. It's so stressful sometimes because I just take it so seriously. Even though my videos are obviously goofy, it's not just like I flip on my camera a couple times a day. I lay in bed like all the time. No, I'm up at like 4:35 every single day. Like, I'm planning, I'm reading, I'm making videos, and I probably only post like 75% of the videos I get. So a lot of the time, like, you do stuff for no result. That's just something that not many people see, because you only see the 15 seconds that go viral.
Sort of like rowing in a way.
Yeah, exactly.
You only got a few races to show how fast you are. You get to be
perfect.
fast all the time, right? And then you could do all these race pieces with your boys, and then you got to show it, right? You got to show that it's actually going on. So
right.
I definitely get it. I think from just it's kind of a trend from the TikTokers that we've interviewed, and we have a friend that's a TikToker from school, like one of our schoolmates in high school. You guys are all, and I'm adding you in the list as well, all very genuinely yourselves. And then you fucking just grind. Like, you put it out. So yeah, man, dude, you're doing your thing, man. It's all respect. You got some fans here. It's all love here. And you want to continue to support wherever your journey goes as a content creator, with anything like that. We want to be there, help you out in any way we can, man. So we really appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's funny how it all came to be too, because I remember last year because I when I get hooked on something, I do it to like the absolute best of my ability. And I remember last year I played video games and I grinded Fortnite. Like, I would actually get up at 4 a.m. before practice, and I would work like Kovacs maps and like aim training and just like piece control, like for Fortnite. Like, I don't know. And my life fell apart, right? So I stopped doing it. And then when I started social media, it was like I could put all my time and energy and it would go crazy. And then I also like get some value from it. Because I'm not saying like you can't get value from video games, but like becoming a streamer is obviously very difficult. Becoming successful from that is pretty difficult too. But when I was able to like basically pay the debt of social media and then also like get some value out of it, it's just like it just took off from there. And it's like all I want to do, and it's all I think about too. So it's an obsession for sure.
Do you have any I guess like influences from like in any realm, like in any sense, like I don't know, movie or actor or I don't know, you name it, whatever. You have any influences that really like you look up to and you think, hey man, I want to kind of mirror it kind of like this. I'm not copying a person exactly, but I want to take a bit of what that person has and add my personality to it and make it something new.
Yeah. So I honestly, I'm not a big like movie buff. So there's no one off the top of my head where I could say like, hey, that's the guy I want to be like. But I would say the masculine character who just kind of grinds in silence, and then basically you could call it going into like monk mode. Like, you just don't hear from this person ever, and then they just like blow up and they just have this crazy arc. And that's kind of what I've been doing. Like, I don't really go out. There's a lot of things I've sacrificed to like make this work, and like this is really what I want to do. So basically just modeling the person who doesn't really care what other people think, which is important.
I would say that's like media. Yeah, I would say it's like some Batman Bruce Wayne type. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm in my cave, I'm working, man. You know what I'm saying?
And it was hard in the beginning to like embrace that, because and anyone who tells you like the negative comments don't like ever get under their skin, that's complete bullshit. Like I remember when I first started and I was seeing all like the negative comments, like it's just hard not to let it fill like your headspace with negativity. And I just had to really ignore that in the beginning. And now I realize it's mostly just people trying to get under your skin. But in the beginning, it was like, oh my God, what, like this is crazy. People are ruthless. So that part was difficult to overcome in the beginning. I remember like actually getting upset over like comments.
I had to realize that because I ended up getting in an argument with a troller.
Yeah.
And there was no substance to their argument.
Right.
And midway through, I had to stop myself. And I'm like, yo, don't get caught up in this, man. Don't get caught up in this. Because it can easily get you,
Right.
just like you're saying, the lows and the highs, like that can easily send you down a path you don't want to go down, right? So yeah, totally get it. Dude, it's been a pleasure, Jack. Thank you for coming on, man. We really appreciate you, bro.
100%.
Yeah, I love doing it. Thanks for having me.
Without a doubt. Yo, it's What's Out. Peace out, everybody.